Yeah, that's right. That sounds pretty good. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah. Carry on.
It's number 243. Take her away. He's not doing it.
He's not doing the thing.
All right, fine. I'll do it. Let's all three. Let's
Wait, what?
No, this isn't going to be funny.
It's 33:10. Wait, is that right order?
Early.
Squadron update.
Welcome to the
Cheese of the
Loose
week.
This episode is called Three Old Men Losing Their Minds.
There's four of us.
There's hope. Oh, there's four. See?
Well, you're not an old man, so.
Mine gone. Okay. Wow. All right. This is the Loose Screws podcast. Apparently, I'm going to start the beginning of it.
It's better than starting the end of it.
It is. I'm Commander Jan Trax, and I was about to do the. You know what? The dates. This is episode 243. Using my eyes to look at the note sheet. It's the 18th of July in 2024.
33010.
I don't think we've done that correctly in a few episodes. So,
is there a correct way to do that?
Yeah,
that's the correct way.
Yep, that was it. And so, on Old Men in Space tonight, I'm joined by Commander Chig.
Hey, that's me.
Commander Nurgle.
Good evening.
And Commander Oblivious.
I ran out of WD-40.
Somebody's writing down everything I say into the possible titles section, and nobody's writing down what he says.
You're on a roll. You've had some good ones.
That's what he said.
Well, guys, I'm gonna be honest with the listeners up front. There's not a lot going on. This is gonna be one of those. We're just gonna vent about some stuff and probably tell some personal stories, and that might be the end of it. I don't know.
That sounds like a normal episode.
Sounds fine, right?
Exactly. Everything's fine.
Right. Chig, do you want to go first or last?
You should go last. He said
you're in charge.
Well.
All right, I'll go last.
I'm in charge. All right, Oblivious. What's new and shaken in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'm going to brag on my son. He's Air Force Special Operations and TAC-P, and they do these things 2-3 times a year. Actually, they do it quarterly, but they have these special challenges going on where they really test their physical and mental capabilities. And this one, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, everyone is complaining about the grind that we've been doing with this CG, and is it worth it, and the grind and line and so forth. They just had this 24-hour challenge where it was a 24-hour run. Very simple challenge. You run as far as you can in 24 hours. And the nice thing about it is they raise money for this, and it goes into funds for fallen squad mates and Gold Star families. And as it turns out, he won it. He ran 50 miles.
What?
In 24 hours.
Damn.
This kid, I say kid, he's 34 years old. He's I think he's the oldest in the squadron. Did 50 miles. The second place was 43 miles. Now get this. It's on a track. You're just going in circles.
No. Wow.
50 miles. So I can't bitch too much about my CG grind that I was going through. It just kind of pales in comparison.
He's got us all beat.
Yep. And that's the end game stuff. I did go out and managed to put myself in the top 25 percentile, thinking, okay, there's no way that I'll fall out of that. And damn, I was right.
Indeed.
Next. Okay. Let's see. What have I been doing this week? Not playing Elite very much. I mean, I got a little bit of playtime in, but haven't today. This has just been a crazy busy week. outside the game, primarily because since we're recording on Thursday night, on Saturday morning, I'm getting up early and we're leaving on vacation for a week to the lovely vacation spot of Austin, Texas. Somewhere we ought to do it. We should probably do a deep dive somewhere on why we decided to go to Austin, Texas in the middle of July.
Questionable.
The answer to that,
a teacher conference, isn't it?
exactly. Yeah, the answer to that question is they sent my wife down there for a conference. She's a teacher, and so we're going to go ahead and turn it into a vacation. So
Cheap bastard, you're just going for the free hotel room.
You damn right I am. and to be honest, I'm going for the Mexican food. Because I'm expecting there to be some outstanding Mexican food in Austin. And then we're going to go up to Waco for a little bit because my wife is a big fan of the HETV renovation show. I don't even remember what they're called, but they're based out of Waco, Texas. So since we'll be in the neighborhood, we're going to go up there, and I'll be posting pictures next week of me in the Dr. Pepper Museum, which is in Waco.
Sorry, not a joke.
No, it's not a joke. When we were sitting down to lunch today, we were looking through things to do in Waco, and there is actually a Dr. Pepper museum in Waco. And
okay, I knew that Dr. Pepper, was created in Waco, Texas, but
you're a step ahead of me. I didn't know that.
Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, there's apparently a Dr. Pepper museum, and
I'll make 23 flavors or something. This is going to be a wow.
I'll make sure to take pictures because we can all be surprised along with me.
Well, there's a Coca-Cola one in Atlanta, so you can just do your soda tour.
And there's a John Deere one somewhere in Iowa, so who knows?
I saw
tractors.
I saw a TikTok video where it said all you need to do to make Dr. Pepper is you take like 2 parts Coca-Cola and 1 part root beer, and you won't be able to tell the difference between that and Dr. Pepper. I have not tried it, but the guy who did it was blown away.
Look, I'm willing to give it a shot. We'll see.
I'm willing to give it a shot too, but I don't drink soda, so I guess I'm not willing to give it a shot. Never mind.
I'm not too soda heavy myself. I doubt I don't know if I would be able to. I mean, do I get to have the real thing right there to compare to? If I don't, then maybe they're right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But if I have the genuine stuff to compare to, there's no way. Like, I'm no sommelier, but there's no way I would get fooled.
I don't think you need to be a sommelier to, your palate doesn't need to be that sophisticated.
That's what I'm saying.
It's freaking soda. I mean,
is it soda or is it pop? No, never mind. Moving on. Moving on.
And so,
my mistake.
I think shortly I'm going to have a decision to make because there has been an offer, and no, I won't even call it an offer. I have been asked to consider a different job.
But you're
retired,
Nurgle. Yeah, Nurgle, you're retired, sir.
I know.
You're not
and
doing this well.
So the downside would be I have to give up the retired lifestyle. And to be honest, the hours kind of suck. On the flip side, the money's pretty good. I mean, it's not good enough that it's an automatic yes, but it's pretty good.
It's got to be good enough that you can hire somebody to get those whippersnappers off your lawn, though.
I won't have to. I won't have to manage anybody either. So,
okay, that's got some advantage.
So we'll see. Since we're going to have this discussion after I get back from vacation, and we'll see how serious they are. But I don't.
Or are we sitting down and talking about it? Us here? You're saying? Or
no. The people who's
going to consult with his old man squad.
Yeah.
All right, Brain Trust, gather around. They made another offer.
Exactly. And I have to think that since they found me and asked me, it probably actually is an offer that I could say yes to, but I'm going to try to push them as far in my direction as I possibly can about anything that is controllable. Because if you're going to ask me to go back to working full time and possibly full time plus, it's really going to have to be worth it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to go really.
As long as it doesn't involve delivering aluminum, it should be okay.
Aluminium.
I'm probably pretty sure that it doesn't. So we'll
That
see.
is not nearly as sure as I expected.
Well, who knows? But that's what's going on with me. I'll be sure to post plenty of pictures from the Dr. Pepper Museum next week.
Wait,
Right on.
delivering aluminum, was that a Dr. Pepper joke? You're delivering Dr. Pepper?
No,
It comes in aluminum cans.
Yeah.
that's true. There
Oh.
is a connection, but no, it's
Yeah.
not.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, going over my head tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't take much.
No, I'm short.
All right, next.
All right, I guess next is me. I haven't really. I played Elite since the last episode in the sense that I did kind of hang on there and put up some numbers in the old Aluminum game, begrudgingly, and but I haven't played since then. Go figure. Everything else is normal and fine. I don't know. The weather's been hot, but hey, what are you gonna do? I think it's been basically okay. So I don't have stories or anything. Nothing wild is going on. So
That's no fun.
You need to
Yeah.
step up your game there.
the most interesting thing I could possibly say is that we the podcast, have been denied the Elite Dangerous Frontier Partnership Program.
Shucks.
I'm on the wrong
Yeah.
side of the pond.
Yeah, but the note telling me such did say that they are focusing on like Twitch and YouTube things. Cough. We publish to YouTube. Cough. But they're working on some other program that is more podcast based. That would be a different thing. So I'm pretty convinced that somebody actually typed it to me and it wasn't just like the standard form rejection letter thing. It was like somebody actually looked at the situation that I was presenting.
Was it AI
just-
generated?
Yeah, I just kind of think we would be cool if they gave us, just promotional materials when something's coming out and everybody gets the images and stuff and we don't. But didn't seem like that was such a big deal. I don't actually need the skate deck,
Yeah.
I don't even know what a skate
but
deck
anyway.
is. Is that a skateboard deck
Skate
you're talking?
deck?
Yeah, there's an Odyssey branded skateboard deck that they send to everyone as part of the swag pack that goes out to you when you become a partner.
I'd break a fucking hip
Please.
if I stood on a skateboard.
Please
Oh, it
tell me
doesn't have
that's a
wheels,
joke.
bud. It doesn't have wheels.
But I've
Just
got
a
a job
deck.
and I could buy wheels.
What kind of a skate deck doesn't roll?
Hold on, that's got to be the one, right?
This is my thing. I never kept up with what the partner program was or anything. I remember when Odyssey was coming out. Remember they brought on a whole bunch of content creators and stuff, and
Yeah,
and people.
and
were
that kind of
asking-
morphed into it. 'Cause
Okay.
there was like a partners for the early release of Odyssey, and they got to like name stations, and they got little snow globes and stuff.
Oh, I want a snow globe.
And that morphed into, I get the impression anyway, morphed into the partnership program, which is now sort of like, the crew that they disseminate special news kind of promotional materials and stuff to just ahead of when the rest
None
of
of which
us see
are
it,
American.
so that they can have content ready and stuff like that. And like,
Okay.
whatever, we're never going to report on something pre-release, I guess. So whatever.
Well,
but it's
that
just-
was a big part back when the Odyssey one was coming out, where I was like, I don't want any information ahead of time because we kind of do speculation and opinion. If we had actual information,
Yeah.
then how do we do our show?
Right.
I always wondered that.
Yeah,
one.
that's true. That's true. So why not? So right. So we don't want any pre-release information. What we want is when the Python Mark II is announced and they send pictures and they have already sent pictures to the partners, it would be great to have those pictures sent to us, like, I don't know, on announcement day or something. So it doesn't have to be early.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my if anyone's listening out there, that's my proposition. Can I be like a lowercase p partner?
Yeah.
just so that when we do this show, I mean, I don't know. I put images on YouTube. I do the thing.
I don't want to be a lowercase p partner. I want to be an air quotes partner.
Yeah.
Okay. A partner.
A partner. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm done talking.
Oh, for the rest of the night?
No.
See, I'm not keeping up with anything tonight. I'm taking everything literally. It's just terrible.
Yeah, you should stop that.
Well, I've started my new job, so that's been pretty busy. But I've been playing actually quite a bit of Elite lately. Kind of bonkers, I know. Got back in the CQC a little bit. There's another CQC Discord out there that's not the CQC Discord. It's the casual CQC Discord. They just added casual before it, and the only rule they have is you can't be Musketeer. So, is
this real?
Yeah, 100% real.
That's the best rule ever.
I had gotten. Remember, I mentioned I had gotten in a random match before last week's show that I was in some random match. Well, then I ended up getting a random DM from somebody who, after seeing me in there, looked me up on Inara and saw I was an old school CQC player, and they invited me to the Discord. And there's a few of the old people that when I was making my run at Elite CQC, that were doing the same thing at the time, and then some other players, some of them are in that Discord. They don't even play the game anymore, and stuff like that. But it's kind of a neat idea. I'm impressed that this is going on and that they reached out to me and invited me to this Discord, and it's kind of fun. They ping once in a while that some people looking for games, so
right.
I've been able to sneak in a game here or there, but Musketeer still shows up, and I still he's the only guy
He still
that
shows up.
I won't. Yeah, and about 4 different alts. We all know at least 4 of his alts that he's got. 3 of them are Elite and CQC, I think. So
Jesus,
it's absolutely ridiculous. And apparently he dislikes me. He thinks that I did nothing.
Because you talk shit, apparently.
Oh, well, no.
As if.
He thinks that I'm a guy that only farmed newbies to get to Elite.
Well, then he didn't notice when he was playing against you, huh?
apparently.
What a dipshit.
Exactly. I don't know, but here's my thing. At his skill level, everybody is a noob to him. So
That's true.
Right.
That's all he does is farms noobs, right? I don't know. And he
Well, his other alts.
well,
Did I say that out loud?
That's just it. He's got Smurf accounts, for fuck's sake. So he's in there, and what always bothered me about him is he's so good, but yet he would still loop power-ups. If you're that good, don't use power-ups and fight lesser players and stuff. There's ways you can do that. So it's always bothered me, and I just don't like playing against him. I've never spoken to him. Maybe once in a forum post we had a quick interaction, but from my end it was cordial. But he's posted in other Discords apparently that I'm a noob farming loser. So whatever,
What an asshole.
With quote marks.
It is what it is. So there is a little bit of a CQC community out there right now, and there. So if you're looking for some CQC, you might be able to find some games. Just try jumping in, and if you're on Inara, these guys might reach out to you, or they might reach out to you in game, to try to see if you want to play some more. Try to bring it back. Still get the broken lobbies occasionally, but it hasn't been too bad. Games have gone pretty smoothly. So I've been doing that, and then I was going for Elite 2 and Mercenary in game. I got that yesterday, so now I got to go out and do some plant gunning. I know this sounds just completely random, but there is a method to my madness. I'll talk about it some other time. But I want to share a family story because this is kind of funny. My daughter had some friends over the other day, and back when she was a kid, instead of a bedtime story, used to play the last level of Super Mario Brothers on the DS with the lava, right? That was like bedtime. Play the final castle, and if you've played it, there's a lot of lava, and she was terrified of lava. That's why she couldn't play it, so she made me play it. So when she's 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, I'm playing this game, and she admitted that scared the hell out of her. Well, there were a couple other things that scared the hell out of her as a kid that I did not know, and she just admitted these things recently. First, I bought her a book about Pompeii. So she was terrified of
God.
volcanoes because of the picture in the book where the father's holding the child, frozen in time forever.
Yeah.
And that has scared her forever. And randomly, she also was terrified of Hitler because Hitler liked blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. And as a little girl, she was very blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and she didn't want Hitler to like her. So she was terrified of Hitler and terrified of Pompeii.
So specific.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very specific fears, which is funny. But the whole, I just learned this not too long ago about, the father holding the child, buried in, I guess, volcanic ash, wasn't really lava, but heat.
But it creates an encasement so that you can see the shapes of their bodies. And that there's an exhibit for the last couple of months at the Science Museum here in Cincinnati that they have a lot of the artifacts have been on this temporary display here.
Okay, so
it's kind of wild.
It is kind of crazy. But here's where my parenting gets next level. The other night, I'm watching The Expanse. Started watching that again, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh my god, child, come here!" I'm trying to offset the fear of the heat and being frozen in space with the scene where Fred Johnson blows up Anderson Station, and father's floating in space, hugging his child, but they're frozen. That should be the opposite of somebody frozen from ash.
Genius move.
I thought this would set it off. I would, avoid years of therapy by bringing her in and showing her instead. And she goes, "I hate you." And she walked away, but she got the joke and everything. But that I was laughing so hard at myself. I thought my joke was amazing, and
that makes one of us.
Avoid some therapy. Hey, come on, that's pretty good.
Lord.
You thought that would that would avoid years of therapy, not lead to?
No, she was terrified of being buried in hot volcanic ash.
So you just gave her another way to be terrified. You gave her another way to be terrified.
Well, it just balances out, at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Brought balance to the universe. What can I say?
Dad joke and psychological damage at the same time. You get lots of points for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Parenting 101, everybody. So
indeed.
That's the end of my little rambling session.
Okay. Great. Superb. It made perfect sense to me. Does that mean I'm a bad parent?
Yes.
No, it means you're a good parent.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say, people. If you need parenting advice, reach out to me.
If you need parenting advice, we may not be the people to talk to.
All right. Well, onward and upward then. Shall we say anything related to the Loose Screws in-game player minor faction?
A thing happened in a place. If you want to know about it, get with me, Nurgle, Oblivious, or Blooming Wind. End of squad update.
All right.
I applaud.
Yeah. Well, way to go. Let's see. Galnet update. Was there any Galnet? I didn't click on it. This is terrible, but I don't think there was, so I didn't
not that I'm aware of.
Hold on, I'm gonna click on it right now while this basilisk gets tailing me. I guess they're just saying that there was a CG. We already knew that, didn't we?
All right. Are we going to talk about the CG?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Wait. Thargoid War update.
Oh.
Thargoid War update. That's next on my note sheet. The war update is we continue to work down Thor's stuff. There is an alert. I'm actually fighting in a base right now.
And they've got those
kind of
working
lazily because I'm talking. Yeah, well, I mean, this is normal, right? So this is an alert. If I landed, there would be missions here.
Yeah. But
anyway,
Thor currently still has 87 controlled systems, so nothing is going to happen anytime soon, really.
Still a few weeks, but we're keeping all the alerts at bay. So control, the various groups are controlling the alerts because those can also be controlled. Or sorry, the invasions.
Yeah, right.
Although alerts are still possible. I think I had kind of misunderstood
Yeah,
what the
but
update meant.
There's only
But
a handful of them. So
Right. A lot of systems will go straight to invasion, which is fine. But those can also be cleared by hauling passengers, or at least progress can be made by hauling passengers. So like all of the various groups are able to work on those. So as far as I know, there's currently just one invasion. But there was the first glimpse of this new feature where new forward operating bases will be switched on in some control systems that are counter-strike systems. So in places that previously just had AXCZs in Thargoid control systems, now bases will come online. So there will be a conflict zone, preferably one on a surface, unless there isn't a surface port in that system. And it will have landing pads for the RRR. There won't be missions because nothing else is active. No mission boards are active at them. And so we saw the first of those appear today. And
which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean,
because fighting
cool.
over a surface port is pretty fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So generally, prefer invasions probably, but it'll be nice to have that. I'm not sure like what the conditions are, why it's been rare, because it's been a couple of weeks. A couple of Tharg's Day ticks have gone by now without us seeing one of these until it finally popped up today. So I don't know. But apparently the conditions are not that they are happening like all the time. Maybe they'll start to become more prevalent eventually. But that's the deal with that. So operations continue.
On the Thargoid news side, or just Thargoid war stuff, I just want to mention how we had Commander Seneca, a member of our Discord, come in to outfitting, and he wanted to get into AX combat a little bit, but didn't know where to get started. And he said he was Googling and YouTubing and trying to figure out, what to do, and if any of us in the Discord could help him out. And then, he typed out that, well, from what I can tell, I needed to get modified Gauss and a thermal beam laser, and that's a good place to go. And like of all the advice you could find out there, that was like the one thing that was the exact worst kind of advice possible. like the most garbage weapon you could use that, and you can't even modify that one to make it anti-guardian protected, right? Because it's already
like a regular Gauss.
So it's like everything about that advice that he found looking on his own was just wrong and mistaken. So then Trax, luckily I was at work and I was checking on my phone and I was going to hop in if nobody gave him some help. And Trax gave out a great explanation of which weapons are viable, which weapons are not, why, and very succinctly. You did an awesome job. And I knew that somebody would come in there and do it. But it's just funny that, with all of the internet at our fingertips, you still can't find reliable information out there on how to do something as complicated as, what we've got going on in this game. And it was funny that, Rick F. and Dalton came in right after that. I was like, thanked him for asking the question because he was afraid to ask. Guys, don't be afraid to ask any question anytime, because this shit, it is confusing. Unless you really get into the weeds and spend a lot of time, you don't know what is good information and what's not. And I'm not saying we're the experts of all time, but we've been playing this for quite a freaking while. And we do have some guys that are pretty goddamn smart. I mean, we have some smooth brains, but they don't talk much. The smart guys will help you out. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, that's the big takeaway, right? Is don't be afraid to ask. The only reason I know exactly the answer to this question and a bunch of like minutia about the advantages of one weapon over another weapon is because I've been paying attention to it since like half of the weapons that are available right now weren't available when I started fighting Thargoids.
Yep.
And like a bunch of stuff, I mean, probably a bunch of stuff's changed like even since the wars started. So, I mean, yeah, it's a complicated mess. Most of it you don't have to pay attention to, but like, yeah, I bet I can believe it. If you go look up like what's the best, anti-Thargoid weapon, there's like 5 different categories of them, and
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing, what ship you're putting them on, what hard points you have available. There's
right.
And the
That
most
was
recent
the hardest.
anti-guardian thing or anti-Thargoid protection on top of it adds even another layer.
Right.
That was the hardest thing for me to overcome when I first started playing, because I'm the type, and I'm sure there's many of us out there that like this. I want to do my research before I go ask the questions out on the forum, because I feel like I'm wasting somebody's time to answer a question I probably answered 1,000 times. And then I quickly found out, because I'm doing it in the BGS, and it's even worse on the BGS because you've got information out there that spans several years and different updates, and you never can tell sequentially where that answer happens to fall. You really don't have any other choice but to come back and ask the people that are active in the game so they can point.
Right.
Sometimes they can point you to a good document to use along those lines. But
Or
if you're trying to
video.
do it yourself, it's an exercise, and it can be very frustrating.
And that's the other side of it too, is unless your name is Adaxius, we're not going to say scroll up or go to Inara. We will help you.
That's true.
That's a tongue in cheek.
We're only
to Adaxius.
We're only mean to our friends.
Yes. You're all our
wait,
friends.
that's right. That's not what I meant either. Shit.
But we also have in most of our channels, we have stuff pinned so you can see by date and everything else. We might tell you, check the outfitting pins. There's something in there, I'm pretty sure, if we don't have time, or you just check there before you ask the question. But honestly, most of our guys, they like to show how big their brain is too, and they're happy to answer the question if they know something you don't. So never be afraid to ask.
I think from now on we should just answer, go ask Adaxius.
Or ask Adaxius to ask.
Yes.
I approve of this message.
And we each have, for the most part, our own little corner of the game that we like to specialize in. If you want to know something about BGS, me and Oblivious and Blooming Wind can talk about that for hours and hours. If you want to get Trax's attention, talk about building ships. Well,
it depends. I've really cut back on how pushy I am. Unless somebody asks for advice, I don't even open links anymore because I know I can't control myself.
But the point being, that's the part of the game you're into, and you have a lot of knowledge about it because of that. So, because no one needs to take my advice on building ships. I'm almost as bad as Lark. But there's people here, no matter what your question is, there's somebody that can probably answer it.
That's true. I mean, Trax doesn't start by saying, "You idiot." For some reason,
unless it's Lark,
I still feel like an idiot. But
unless it's Lark or Adaxius,
I think I get it. Like when somebody asks a question and I have like an answer ready on the tips of my fingers with the most when I say minutia, like honestly, it probably seems like duh, right? But I assure you it is not. It's
all out
just
of love.
It's stuff that just took years and years to finally absorb. And it's like, how long is the sleep phase? But after you kill a Thargoid heart? And what is this? You know what I mean? Like that stuff, you can watch like 100 videos.
33.7 seconds.
No.
How to untrigger a swarm. No.
I mean,
there's
that's
a ton of minutia in this game.
There is. Okay.
No,
anyway, that was my point. So just because we have like a really good. Speaking of, I just got ringed by the swarm from laughing.
There you go.
Just because there's like a really good answer, really thorough answer right on the tip of the finger there, doesn't mean that it was a stupid question that was like super easy to research and you should have known better.
Yeah, and
exactly.
It's not condescension if we answer quickly, or if if somebody posts advice that's just, I'm not going to say flat wrong, but isn't quite accurate. It sounds like we might be doing that. Well, actually thing, but we're just correcting, just nudging
Yeah.
and correcting. We're not trying to be elitist. We're not trying to be condescending. We genuinely want to help. So don't ever take it any other way. We're not Reddit.
That's true. I don't have a Reddit account. I'm never on there. Okay. So, well, that was a very exciting Thargoid War update. Anything else to talk about in this episode of this podcast? Nothing else happened, right?
No. Something about aluminium or aluminum or
yeah. Okay, so the
titanium.
CG happened. It finally ended today
Hallelujah.
with
it
its
did end?
two additional tiers. Yeah, it went all the way to just over 70 million, which means we did actually complete it. It didn't run out of time first because it was just a hair over 70 million total deliveries. So, I don't want this to be the Justin Rants About Stuff show. So,
But
please,
who's Justin?
please, somebody else talk. What happened with this CG? What was all the hullabaloo?
so
Can I take a stab at it because I know very little?
Go right ahead.
Sure.
That's always fun. They had a CG where you need to transport aluminum, titanium, or power generators. Is that right?
Yep.
And the top 50% in the CG were going to get a badass size 6 corrosive resistant cargo rack. That has never existed in game, doesn't exist in game, is something that a lot of people would really want.
One of them was given away as a high level reward for a previous. Well, I don't know how high level, but it was given away as a CG reward one other time, like a long time ago. I think there was
that
5s
size
and
6 also,
6s.
or was that a 5? I
thought it was
Yeah.
4s and 5s.
No,
Yeah, I don't
4s
think
is
it's 6.
4s are unlockable by the tech broker.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I have.
5s. A 5 and a 6 was given away, I think, for different tiers. Like it might have been, I don't remember, it might have been like 25 and 50 or 50 and 75%, one of those things. But it was possible to have a 5 and a 6 if you were successful in that CG a long time ago.
Yep. There you go. So you were going to have to be in the top half. So a lot of people you had kind of two camps. People are like, oh my God, I got to have this, start trucking like hell because they don't want to miss out. And then people like me that were like, well, Jesus Christ, there's no way I'm going to get the top half. I'm like, I don't have the time this weekend to start trucking like mad. And I just went, well, I guess I don't get that. And I was okay with that. I didn't like the fact that was the reward for the CG and it was going to make people work that hard.
And that was me too.
They sat on it over the weekend, then came out Monday morning and said, well, anybody who hauls anything gets one. And if you're in that top 50%, you get 2 of these.
And extended the time so that was possible.
Yes. And it really just and when I heard it that morning, I didn't realize that the time had been extended. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm not even going to have time to deliver the 1 unit to do this. But then, found out it was extended, but then I decided, well, F this. I'm just I ran home real quick and took the 10 minutes to run one ton of titanium over to so that I assured myself the thing. And I did it 1 ton specifically on purpose, just because I thought it was just so utterly stupid that they changed it midstream again.
That was your protest haul.
Well, no, I'm not even going to say it was a protest haul. When I protest, I don't buy ARCs for 2 years. But this was more. This was more just. I just thought it was dumb, and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do the 1 ton and be done with it. And like Alec Turner tried to do the same thing, but then he said that he hadn't done enough to qualify or something. But when
I heard of some menu bugs. I saw a couple of reports of that.
See, when I brought the 1 unit in. And, obviously I enrolled for the CG before I sold it to the station. And then I looked and I'm like, wait a minute. It says I didn't do enough to qualify because it's got the bar over on the right and the bottom is didn't do enough to qualify. Then it's got the tiers going up where you were. And when I first looked at it, that was red saying I didn't do enough to qualify, but I didn't notice the notch right above that was highlighted. So, I didn't think I qualified right away. Then I just looked at it a little bit closer. So I don't know if it was, some user error, reading the UI wrong, because sometimes the UI is less clear than it needs to be. So, some people proceeded to transport more, but I just, look closer. I'm like, oh no, I got it. All right, going back to work. So I think I explained it there, and there was a whole lot of there was quite a bit of salt that Monday morning on that. So
No.
take it away.
Yep. There was a bit of salt. It didn't turn out. Now on the Monday morning when we awoke in the United States, we awoke to this rules change basically. There was a lot of salt, but most of what we were actually worried about did not come to pass, because it actually, at first that morning, it made it seem like those of us who had put in the effort, like we weren't mad that they were going to allow more people to get it, because personally I just felt like it was a extremely desirable module for people who are participating in the Thargoid War, doing that battle. Even like, I don't know, the science stuff could have been. I don't even remember if those if the human pods end up being corrosive or something. I don't know. The mismatch was weird. Whatever. I don't want to get into all of it, I guess, unless the conversation goes there. But like, we wake up Monday and a bunch of us had really kind of like put in the effort, because I really did want that. And the whole time thinking, all of these other contributors are also putting in a sincere effort. And no matter what, only half of us are going to get this thing that there is absolutely no other way to get, and is like sincerely valuable in the game. It is not a cosmetic. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I don't think that community goals shouldn't have any competitive elements, but those competitive elements should be stuff that isn't this important to gameplay. Cosmetics, totally fine to have that on the table. Other, I don't know, sort of unique modules or discounts, excellent. Make the CG, complete the CG and it becomes a tech broker item, but
Zero cost holds.
You get 3 for free and an automatic unlock. Fine. All that stuff is fine. Yeah. But if the item is taken, is not accessible to half of the people who bust their ass at all, even for an unlock, you know what I mean? So it was like, we put in all this effort, they kind of change the rules and extend the time, and then it's like, I don't know, then there still ends up being this pressure, right? Oh, now I could possibly get 2 of them. And it seemed like, and that didn't really pull on my strings, but I think a lot of people that's what they're thinking is, oh, great. I had put in this effort with a target time in mind, because we can sort of see the counter ticking down on Inara, and then the time gets extended. So now we have to compete even longer. That really ruffled a lot of feathers. What actually ends up happening, of course, is that since now anybody who delivers one can get one, a bunch of piles of somewhere between 16 and 60 of these things keep getting delivered by individual commanders, and where the low range of top 50% just drops through the floor, but way back down to, I think, below 5,000 in the end.
Yeah, and it was like 14,000-ish tons.
It was north of 12. By the end, I had delivered like 14,250 or something, and it was approaching where I was.
Yeah, and then once you get a bunch more commanders doing it, then that number dropped.
Yeah, because they all basically hugely increase the total participation without increasing hardly at all the total. Anyway, we get how the math works. So it was fine. It ends up being like a perfectly fine solution, I think. At the time, I was ranting with everybody else about, like, this is the wrong way to do it. They should have let the CG end, because it kind of invalidates the competition that had already happened, that had a cap, and that's what the cap that we were all aiming at. They should have just ended it and immediately thrown up another one for participation only, which would have had the same effect, but without the psychological impact of sort of devaluing the work. But like I said, it didn't end up happening that way. A bunch of people who weren't about to ended up getting 2 out of the deal, and so on and so on. So totally fine. It's just like, to answer like the criticism of the criticism, like, why are we getting bent out of shape about this? Why were people calling it a punishment? You know, I get that some people like hauling. That's their game loop, right? And if you do, why is this a desirable module for you? Is one question I have, because it is for it primarily, I think, for other activities. So I'm sure there's some overlap, but like, the AX community really wants this module. Whether other people do, I guess, is immaterial, but they really do. And that's where all the fervor was coming from. So, you know, like I said, make it a cosmetic, or make it an unlock, or give a discount, make the competition for a discount or for a few free ones, but everybody else can get one too for mats later or something. It's okay if it's expensive, but if it's actually impossible to get, then, you know, it's kind of a problem. So it just doesn't line up, I guess. I'm just, my head's swimming with all this stuff. It just doesn't line up. Hauling CG with no other options for this thing that you can't get any other way, and is not really for hauling. I know it's a cargo rack, but dear people who do hauling in this game, corrosive cargo, really? You know, change my mind.
Yeah.
But that's the puzzling thing is the nature of CGs. Often the reward isn't relevant to that activity. You know, I mean, yes, it was a cargo rack, but I mean, wouldn't for people that would want this and are in that game loop, wouldn't something where you're hauling like hauling corrosive stuff, you know, in order to earn this larger rack, wouldn't that make more sense?
It would make more sense, or like, if you wanted to associate it with Thargoid combat, it would be like Thargoid bonds would be the turn-in material for.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been in
Thargoid
favor
hearts.
For the record, I wouldn't have been in favor of any of those either. But like, I think to make it more, to complete the analogy, it would be like, okay, maybe the reward for some reason, I'm trying to think of something unique. So maybe the reward is like a size 7 luxury cabin or something, you know, something that doesn't exist but could. And a certain set of commanders would really want that. And it's not available any other way. And the CG is for, you know, AX bonds, or let's not even make it that hard. Just combat bonds. You know what I mean? That's the mismatch that I think we're talking about here, or that's sort of an analogy to it, right? You know, that's just an opinion, but like, the main point that I guess I'm trying to get across is like, I'm not saying CGs that have competition are bad. The reasons this one were bad, it's like everything, the module was really desirable. It's impossible to get any other way. It doesn't match the CG activity. Although that one I agree is squishy. It's hard to come up with CG activities, right? So whatever, that's fine. And they're only giving it to top 50% instead of like making it an unlock, or, you know, making it available for X months where X is the tiers completed. You know what I mean? Like, you could do any of these things and have it still be a bunch of those. It's still even limited if you wanted it to be for some reason. But any one of those things would have made it not this thing. So I do think they did the right thing in changing it, but I think we were right to be upset.
I agree.
Yeah.
You move goalposts annoys me. So.
Well, okay, but I don't. I also agree that they did the like. It was right to move them, though. The goalposts were in the wrong place to begin with. It was the right move to allow everybody to do the 1-ton delivery.
That's kind of why I don't like moving goalposts because it just admits, hey, we don't know
We
what
screwed
we're
the
doing.
pooch.
We just did this. It's just really shines a spotlight on it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I
That's
wasn't
true.
overly upset either way. It just every time they do something that's, I don't think tone deaf. Everybody's, do they even play their own game? No, they're making their own game. That's
They're too busy,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
And
So-
you'd be upset if they weren't too busy.
exactly. So it's not that, but it is weird how they don't have somebody, some pulse of the community. They've got the partners program. Maybe they should talk to those partners a little bit.
Have them on as consultants.
Have them on as actual partners. What they're saying is, we're going to give you a skate deck,
obviously.
but we don't want any input back. We just want
We want to have our
just wanna
say.
call you partners. It's a one-way relationship.
Hmm.
I don't know. Actual partners, they could harness that knowledge of the people who are actually playing the game, are actually in the community, and are actually aware of how these things play out. So
that's true. If they had polled the partners, hey, what do you think of this CG? They would have very quickly gotten back whoa, this
easy.
module is insane. Like, you need to modify this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you don't have to change it that much. Like, what's your goal, Frontier? It would be the response. It's like, what's your goal? Do you want this to be a limited item still, or an unlock? If you want it to be a limited item, you've got to do this.
Yep. Yep.
And
just listen to the community
whatever.
just a tiny bit. If if the people in your partner program you feel have earned enough clout that you want them as partners, maybe actually just seek out a little advice once in a while. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's not their style. They've shown time and time again that they won't do that. But anyway,
it's not that
fine.
kind of partner program.
Right. It is a one-way partner program. The way is, we'll give you early access to information and
you
access
brag
to
on our
closed
game.
beta, and you create marketing material that's effectively free for us.
But when you use the word partner, I don't think that word means what they think it means.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You are correct, sir.
I just like to think what was going on there at FDev. Some manager yells out across the room, "Hey Keith, how's the new CG going?" And Keith goes, "They're all pissed off about it." Well,
Make them happy.
That CGP is what they're using.
Well, I'm
It is.
going to go home this weekend and think about it. And then he comes on Monday and says, "Hey Keith, why don't you make these changes?" Okay, we put it in. "Hey Keith, how's it going?" They're all pissed off. Well, fuck Keith. I don't know what to do now.
That goddamn Keith. I tell you.
Damn it, Keith.
Every time his name gets brought up.
Keith again.
Goddamn Keith.
Yeah, Keith again.
Oh, yeah.
It's Keith.
He didn't get redundantized or whatever the hell they do in England. I don't know.
We shouldn't make a joke out of that, but that is funny.
Redundantized. My goodness.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's me. Any
Any other thoughts on this? Because clearly we've talked plenty.
I kind of like what Alex had to say on Lave, where he said he was miffed about it coming out of the weekend, but then he got to the show to talk about it. He says, "I don't really remember what I was mad about."
That's because he's had serious trauma to the head many times in that SRV hit. So he forgets lots of
Doesn't
things.
wear a helmet in an SRV.
No.
I figured he was going to make a T joke out of it. So what do I know?
No, I went with head trauma instead when it comes down to Turner.
Don't get me wrong. It's way worse.
Well, it's probably head trauma, and I don't think he has oxygen in his helmet either. So it's kind of a combination of a couple things, but it's all good. He's good
Ataxia and hematoma.
Yep, those are words.
That's what he gets for riding in Lark's SRV.
as it's launched at things. Yes.
Exactly.
That's right.
Firing
guys.
the repeaters all the way in. I love it. If you imagine your projectiles shooting projectiles as it's approaching, you'd be able to snipe hearts pretty nicely with that, actually.
That's true. If your bullets
Until you-
have bullets.
Until you ran out of SRVs.
That's why I'm not in the partner program, because I would suggest shit like that.
Yeah.
Again, not for suggestions.
Yeah. It's not the kind of partner program you think it is.
Oh,
Just for feedback.
oh.
No, they're still
right.
immune to feedback.
They are.
All right. I think it's time we roll on and talk about any community stuff that might be going on. Like
Community.
there's a Buckey Ball race, right?
But is it now
Last
or
week,
later, or did it happen?
Last week
No.
there was not information yet. Is there information now?
It's still kind of sketchy. And
Let's
the
ask
biggest
Indigo.
worry,
So on
the
brand.
biggest worry they have over it is the way it's being planned. It's got a lot of bonuses, and where that's concerning some of the other developers of the game is the people that are running the game are not quite realizing they're going to have to look at 100% of the videos turned in
Oh,
to apply the bonuses, and they're a little worried on if they can actually pull it off or not. So things are
that's a lot of power,
still a little fluid on that one.
just reviewing tapes. Okay.
Mhm.
As a reminder, because sometimes maybe it's somebody's first time ever listening to this show and they don't know what Buckey Ball Racing is. It's a racing club where they come up with crazy races, and the newest one, apparently the judges of the race will have to watch a bunch of videos if they follow through like that. That's funny as hell.
I think the idea is you're going around between all the 7 sister stars,
Right.
and there's some variability to the order you can do them in or something. But yeah, a lot of bonuses. So I don't know the details of the rules, but you can go to the Buckey Ball site and find that info.
Confession on Buckey Ball Racing.
Absolutely.
I usually will make a run or two of whatever course they have set up, but I am far, far, far too lazy to send screenshots and stuff in of anything. So I just do it for fun, and then be like, "Wow, that was pretty cool," and then I go on with my life. But it is super cool. I wish that there was a way in game for them just to do that, but you usually are submitting. Well, you are submitting screenshots to the race organizers and stuff, and I'm sorry, that feels like work to me. I'm doing my TPS reports already at work, and I don't need to be doing that in my game time. So sorry, guys. Love what you're doing though. Keep up the good work, and you guys that
Absolutely
love that, keep doing it, because it's one of the best communities this game has.
Absolutely. I think that's all I have. So
Yeah. We're
That's
setting
great.
a land speed record tonight.
yeah.
Well, that's a shame. No, that's actually really good because I get up super early. Remember, guys? All right.
Exactly.
When
Yep.
did we start this thing?
An hour ago.
Oh yeah, pretty much nailing it on an hour. So yeah, thanks for listening to all the listeners, and thanks for joining me to all the contributors. And
I was listening too.
technically
Okay.
correct. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the deal. Share the podcast with your friends. Maybe if we get more listeners,
Are my friends.
FDev will see fit to create a podcast partner program for us,
PPP.
and then we'll get
I don't want a skateboard.
marketing. No, we don't care. Yeah, for the
Skate
record,
deck,
don't care
sorry.
about the skate deck. I don't need it to be anything fancy. If that's onerous to them, I just would like to, have the marketing materials, because we are making a show about the game, and sometimes I want to be able to show things, and I have to go find them from the Burr Pit or something like that in their Discord and sneak them onto our show that way.
Yeah, we steal their stuff all the time, except their tea. I never steal their tea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Burpit.
Thanks. Thanks to everybody. I mean, whatever. The information is all out there, and it's really not that big a deal. But That's the story.
We're sticking to it.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Thanks.
Links in the
thanks.
show notes to stuff.
There's show notes?
Yep, there is on
Cool.
every single episode.
That is cool. Hey, and you said that there were how many episodes? What episode is this?
243.
Okay, that's the actual numbered episodes. We actually have 264 counting this one. Just because we had special episodes back in the day where we like interviewed the Burr Pit guys and other peoples. I'd start naming them, but then I'll leave somebody out and everybody will be mad. So I'm just saying Burr Pit. That's it. Just those guys.
Yeah.
Burr and Reenie, they're the only
Nice.
ones that get brought up. The rest of you can suck it. I'm kidding.
Wonderful. All right, everybody. Thanks, Chig, Nurgle, Oblivious, for joining me. And what a great episode. I think we'll just end it there.
What's happening? Hit stop.
So long, everyone.
Make it
Goodbye.
stop.
Goodbye.